Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So in today's build we're actually going to be furnishing an apartment and we're going to be renovating an apartment for my save file. So this is the, I believe 2A Jasmine suite apartment in the Spice District, and I am doing this for my save like I mentioned. So this will be up on the gallery under the hashtag 𝘕�㈿𝘕 or you can find it under the gallery under my hashtag like ChrissieYT, and it will also obviously be on my gallery page, and all of the download stuff and information will be in the description. But it is completely custom content free. I just used a bunch of different packs, and I'm actually also using a couple of items from the new high school years expansion pack because I did build this, you know, after that pack was released. I'm just posting it today because I felt like, you know, taking a little bit of a break from doing like high school years or Copperdale, you know, specific builds. So yeah, actually built this last night, I think. Yeah, I built this last night and I don't know, I was in the mood to do some furnishing, but I didn't want to do anything big. So I decided, you know what, let's go in. I knew I wanted to create an apartment for this particular sim that I will put up on the screen for you guys. I'll put up the picture of the sim and his dog that I'll tell you about in a little bit of just a second. But basically I knew I wanted to create an apartment for this sim, and I knew where I wanted it to be. So I just decided, you know what, we're gonna go in, we're gonna do it, and I had a lot of fun with this. So I did use a couple of the high school years items, some of the new items, and obviously items from other packs and stuff. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this apartment. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it in a second. But yeah, so the sim that I have live here is actually a detective and his dog. So funny thing, you won't see me putting any dog or pet items in the build like on camera, like in the video, because when I was editing this, I actually decided that I wanted the sim to have a dog. So I went back in, I created his dog, and then I just added some pet food bowls and a toy box to the apartment, you know, off camera. So you won't see that in the video or in the screenshots because honestly I didn't feel like taking the screenshots again just because I added a food bowl and a dog toy box. So you won't see that in any of like the video or anything like that, but it is in the uploaded version on the gallery. So at the end of the day I ended up adding in the food bowl behind the couch in the living room, and the like toy box is actually in the office. So this is only a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, but the office space is definitely big enough to have like a second bedroom in there if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you know, maybe like repurpose the office and turn it into a bedroom, a nursery, or, you know, whatever you need for your family that you have live here. But yeah, so like I said, pet stuff off camera. I also didn't add in a like tub, like a bathtub. And that's actually something I only noticed afterwards, and the way the bathroom layout was, you know, done, the way I did the layout for the bathroom, I would have had to change literally every single thing in the entire bathroom. I wasn't going to be able to keep anything in the same spot if I wanted to add a bathtub or like a shower tub combo or something like that. So yeah, I decided to not add a bathtub. If you wanted to play with pets in this, then you could easily just cheat your dog or your pet's need up if they, you know, their hygiene need or something like that. Or you can pretend the way you know, the way I will, that, you know, he takes him to the groomers. He doesn't, you know, bathe him himself. He takes him to the groomers, and that's kind of how, you know, he gets clean, if that's something that you want to do. Or you can, you know, obviously you can remodel the bathroom a little bit and then add in a bathtub if that's something that you really wanted to do. I just didn't really see a need for it because honestly, whenever I play with dogs, I very rarely actually bathe them. Whenever they get dirty, I just cheat, and I cheat up their needs, and then I pretend that my sim, you know, sent them to the groomers or something like that. So yeah, I very rarely do that. Also with this sim in particular, the idea that I had for the sim is that he probably wouldn't have the time really to do stuff like that. So in my head, obviously, and in my save, he is a detective. I think I mentioned that. I did the first bit of this voiceover twice, so this is actually my second time doing the voiceover. So if I say something and if I repeat myself, a little bit. That would probably be why, because I can't remember what I mentioned in the first version and what I didn't. So yeah, if I end up repeating myself, I'm really sorry. But yeah, so like I said, this sim is a detective. He's in the detective career. I believe he's like level 6 of the detective career, if I'm remembering correctly. I think he's like a sergeant or something. And he's like a total workaholic. So his name is 𝘕𝘠𝘠 and 𝘕𝘠𝘠 Singh. And he's actually the uncle of Aisha and Malik Amin, who lives in my twin suburban house that I posted, I think, last week. So I'll leave a video on the screen for that video if you guys want to know a little bit more about those like sims in his family. But he also has another niece in Copperdale. Actually, he has a niece in Copperdale whose family I have already created, but I still have to do their like house and all of that stuff, so I won't tell you guys too much about them. But basically, 𝘕𝘠𝘠 had 2 older sisters, and he's obviously the youngest. So his older sisters were the parents of obviously the twins, and then the other sister that lives in Copperdale. So basically, his older sisters have both passed away at this point, and you know, he's obviously like, he's kind of, I don't know, I don't really like, their ages are a little bit confusing for these sims, but basically he's younger than the niece that lives in Copperdale. Only a few years in my head, you know, maybe 1 or 2 years, not a super big age gap. But is like the twins that live in Willow Creek, they're younger than he is. So the ages are a little bit confusing. He's definitely like, he's like the baby of the family, if you could say that. So he's like a really, really young, you know, both of his older sisters were like very much older than he was. So yeah, that's kind of my idea. And he's a total workaholic. He is super smart and everything like that. He graduated, you know, with like honors from high school and university and all of that stuff. And yeah, he's a total workaholic. He also has the single and loving it like lifestyle. I gave him the workaholic lifestyle, obviously, but then also the single and loving it one, because in my head, he really doesn't care about being in a relationship at this point. He is very much happy with, you know, just his career and his dog. And, you know, his dog is actually called Clooney, which is something that I actually took inspiration from Criminal Minds. If you guys have ever seen Criminal Minds, you'll know, or you might know or remember, that Derek Morgan, who's one of the profilers in that, he actually has a dog called Clooney. I believe they only mention him like once in, I don't know, maybe like the 1st or 2nd season of the show. And yeah, his dog was called Clooney, so I definitely took inspiration from that. So yeah, that's his dog's name. And basically, he's also kind of like his best friend. In my head, 𝘕𝘠𝘠 and Clooney have been together probably for years, probably since Clooney was a puppy. And I figured that, you know, 𝘕𝘠𝘠 probably got him when he was in the K9 unit at, you know, the police department. He used to be in the K9 unit, and maybe Clooney was the dog that he used to work with. So he trained him, you know, he raised him, all of that stuff, and they're very, very close. They're basically best friends. And now that 𝘕𝘠𝘠 works as a sergeant, like as a detective, Clooney is kind of just his, you know, his best friend, and he spends all of his like free time with him and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the idea I had in my head for this sim. And yeah, so back to the apartment, you guys will notice that I did use a couple of different like furniture styles, I guess you could say. So I did kind of go for an industrial style for all of like the big items. I wanted the apartment itself to look a little bit more industrial. So obviously with the brick accent walls, with the vents in the ceiling, you know, the kitchen counters and cabinets and stuff are all a little bit more industrial and all of that stuff. But then I also wanted to obviously use some of the new items from the high school years pack. So a lot of the items in the apartment are either industrial, or they look a little bit more modern, you know, with the new items, or they look a little bit more worn and older as well. So, you know, like the TV unit in the living room, those like, they're technically console tables that I used, they look a little bit older and a little bit more worn. Even the black like console table cabinet things that I used in the bedroom as well, they also look a little bit older. And obviously those steamer trunks from the werewolves pack, I figured those items, those like older looking items, would be items that he maybe inherited from his parents that have passed away, or, you know, something like that. Or maybe there's stuff that he picked up at the flea market in the Spice District, or, you know, anything, some, you know, stuff like that. Basically, just I wanted to go for a very like kind of mix match of items, but keeping with, you know, almost like this color scheme that I had going on of a lot of dark wood, a lot of black furniture, a lot of black woods, a lot of like darker reds and blues as well. So you'll notice that I did use these new curtains from the high school years pack in the, I believe I used them in the living room, the bedroom, and in the office, but I used them as kind of like accent curtains because, as you can see, they're obviously like see-through. So I did put blinds behind all of them, and I figured, you know, maybe the blinds were here and they're kind of like part of the apartment, but then he went in and added the curtains as, you know, just an extra touch of kind of like hominess, if that makes sense. But yeah, I really like the way this apartment turned out. I mean, the overall color scheme and even the layout and everything. If this apartment had like a little bit more plants, like had some more plants like everywhere, then it would definitely be somewhere that I would love to live personally. Like the color scheme and all of the darker furniture, and I love the way this apartment turned out. Even the industrial style as well. I tend to be very indecisive when it comes to, you know, thinking about stuff like my dream home or stuff like that. My style preferences and stuff change like every week basically. But I've always loved industrial stuff and industrial builds and furniture and everything like that, especially if they have like really warm colors and a lot of plants. Like I said, if this build had like maybe 5 extra plants in every room, then it would probably be my like dream apartment, if that made sense. But yeah, we're just working on the bedroom, and then the last room that we're going to be doing is actually going to be the office. So you will also notice that not so much in the bedroom is a little bit neater, but a lot in like the office and the living spaces and stuff. There's a lot of clutter everywhere. So he's not like, I didn't want to make the apartment look dirty or like filthy or stuff like that, but I wanted to make it look messy. So like he, you know, had a lot of paperwork and, you know, files and books and all of that kind of stuff just like everywhere in the apartment, and he doesn't put it away. He doesn't really organize stuff either. So there's a lot of like file boxes and paper boxes and just open files and stuff like that everywhere. And then also obviously in the living room we have that Zoomers bag that I put on the coffee table, and the pizza and Chinese food boxes on the counter. So yeah, because in my head, obviously, he is a very much a workaholic sim. He probably doesn't do a lot of cooking at home. He probably does order, like, delivery a lot. And maybe those are just the things that he hasn't thrown away yet, or hasn't had a chance to throw away yet, or something like that. Or maybe, you know, the Zoomers, like, bag on the coffee table is, like, tonight's dinner or something that he ordered. But yeah, I tried to add a couple of like very realistic touches to the apartment, especially like I said, with all of the clutter and the paperwork and everything like that. I tried to clutter up everything. Like I said, apart from the bedroom isn't super cluttered. Obviously it does look lived in, but I didn't want to make the bedroom like super cluttered, because in my head he probably doesn't spend too much time in there. He doesn't do a lot of work in there, if that makes sense. So whereas he might come home and do obviously a lot of work in his office, or maybe even in the living room in front of the TV or something, he probably doesn't do that in the bedroom. So there wouldn't be, you know, like files and all of that stuff in the bedroom. He just has, you know, bedroom stuff in the bedroom. And then obviously the bathroom as well isn't super cluttered because it's a bathroom, and honestly I just didn't care all that much about the bathroom. Usually I don't. Usually, unless the bathrooms are super like stylized or super big, I usually just do like the basics in a bathroom and call it a day, because honestly, how much time are your Sims really going to spend in a bathroom? Also, there are laundry machines in the bathroom. I should have mentioned that, but there's laundry in this apartment. I did put a laundry basket in both the bathroom and in the bedroom. So yeah, there's plenty of like laundry basket space, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's basically this whole build, you guys. We're just going to be adding a couple more details, a lot of like diplomas and plaques and You know, maybe those are things like commendations that he got from work and everything like that. So yeah, we're just going to be doing that, and that's going to be basically it. Like I said, this build is up on the gallery if you want to go ahead and download it. And yeah, it's completely CC free as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, give the video a like. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see some more Sims content, feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification bell as well to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. But I hope you're all having a great day and a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on my very next build. Bye guys!
I could probably use some heartbreak to get moving. Tired of the way you let me down. You fill me up with broken promises, 'cause you never keep them. I'm so sick of the way you let me down. So time. Oh, don't try. I don't like all the things you do, mess with my head. Just pick me up, let me down like you don't care. This is for my time. I don't know which way I'm going. I don't need to, as long as I don't have to stay with you. You fill me up with broken promises, 'cause